Hello, welcome to the video, and today we are going to be talking HubSpot contact lifecycle stages. Chances are, if you're using HubSpot, you're familiar with it, you want to use a nice and simple funnel report. And one of the most common difficulties is contacts skipping through lifecycle stages. And that is normally because if you go to your contacts object, make sure that you're in lifecycle stages and you navigate to automate, by default, HubSpot is going to have these settings enabled. So what that means is, regardless of their current lifecycle stage, if a deal is associated to them, they will be set to opportunity. If that deal is marked 1, they'll be set to customer. And when a lead is associated, they'll be marked as most commonly sales qualified lead. And so 2 things to note. One is, supposing that you create a contact that's brand new and you want to enroll them in, let's say, a series of marketing emails that are linked to their marketing qualified stage, if they just come straight in and get associated to a deal, that will never happen. Similarly, if you've got your funnel report that shows progression through the funnel, you're going to get a lot of skipping through stages. So you're going to want to, by default, disable these. Gives you more control, allows you to filter out things like internal colleagues, etc. from your lifecycle stages and keep things nice and clean. So as a first step, navigate to your contacts, lifecycle stage, and automate, and then you will disable these. Probably best that we set up the workflows first before we do this, but just note that's where you go to edit them. And you may see on my screen, if you haven't seen it recently, HubSpot has just recently introduced these colored tabs. So what you can do is you can now give your lifecycle stages some nice colored labels, particularly useful if you are doing things such as adding in lifecycle stages for disqualified leads, or you just want to say, yeah, this is green, this is a qualified lead, very good. So you can now add in text with colored dots, which would be text and then a small like signifier color next to it. And as you can see in the illustration, you can also have a colored pill around. So let's assume, as you can see here, that we have developed our contact lifecycle stages and we have correspondingly defined the criteria by which someone enters those stages. You want to do that by making sure that you go to your segments and lists and building out that criteria. It's always good just to apply some exclusions to that as well, so you don't get any unwanted folks coming in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the workflows section so you can see what we're going to talk about. So the key principle of this is we want to set up our lifecycle stages such that people cannot skip through. And so what we're going to build towards is which you can see on the right hand side, a workflow that will take someone through each of those stages through to the most applicable stage. So to give you the best scenario, or the sort of the end goal, I've taken you to a workflow that does this based from contact through to opportunity. So on the right hand side, bearing in mind we've already seen which lifecycle stages this account has, we first assume they have no contact lifecycle stages. So we branch on the current lifecycle stage and we can see this is none met, so they have no lifecycle stage. So supposing that is the case, it will work in sequence, set the lifecycle stage to contact, then to MQL, then to SAL, then to SQL, and opportunity finally. One of the reasons for this is if you, let's say someone has skipped a stage and you go and backfill it, HubSpot's funnel report will by default take the sort of the flashpoint when they entered and check the previous lifecycle stages for date entered. If that date property didn't exist when they became, let's say, an SQL, they become an SQL and they don't have a date for MQL, HubSpot will, regardless of what you do, whether you move them back, whether you backfill it so that you can populate that value, it will say the point at which they entered this report, this funnel, they skipped MQL to SQL. And therefore, your total MQL numbers, which should include opportunity SQL, will only show people that entered that given stage. So that's one of the reasons we want to do this. So we can see in this model, we have built out that process, that sequence. And now let's look at how we apply this to, let's call them intermediate contacts. So contacts that aren't brand new, perhaps they're at one of our other previous lifecycle stages. So what we're going to do is we'll go to a contact. We first create a branch on all of the lifecycle stages. So what we do is we click in and we make sure that we have a branch for each possible value for that lifecycle stage. And we will then simply fill in the gaps. So if someone enters this journey and at the time that they enter, they are a contact and we wish to progress them through because they meet criteria for an op, we're going to take them through each stage. So MQL, SAL, SQL, finally op. And then what we would do is to build out the marketing ones, we would just copy, so clone this action and paste that into the MQL queue. And once we've done that, we will then just delete the previous stages. So this person was probably already a contact, they were already in MQL, so therefore I'll delete the contact stage and I'll delete the MQL stage, leaving a delay straight into the next journey in the funnel. So you will then rinse and repeat this through to the current lifecycle stage that is being triggered by this workflow. A bit of just common sense logic. The reason that nothing exists on opportunity is this workflow is designed to progress them to opportunity. So if they are already in opportunity or even a lifecycle stage that progresses after opportunity, this is unnecessary, it's redundant. So that's why you see those blanks here. And the final piece to bring it all together is, as I said at the start, you'll want to build out what I refer to as a trigger list. Essentially, this is just your criteria that defines when someone should be an opportunity. Therefore, if they enter that list, it will then progress them, enroll them in this workflow, and off they go. So a couple of quick things on this one. You can see I've also got a suppression list. So I have any internal staff on suppression so they don't accidentally get enrolled in a workflow such as this. And you may also wish to apply this to competitors as well. So perhaps you have a tag for competitors, drop that in, and you're good to go. Then when you're ready, enable that and disable your automated lifecycle stage filtering. And you'll be able to then take advantage of your funnel reports without skipping stages, and you'll have a really nice story to tell for your contact lifecycle progression. So I hope this has been useful. It's just a quick introduction to sequential lifecycle stage population. Skipping stages is not the be all and end all. It's also still a nice story to tell if someone has skipped. And a few other little considerations as we end the video is if you rely heavily upon things like progression through stages, keep in mind that if you're getting someone from brand new to the final stage via this journey, you're going to have 1 minute between lifecycle stages. So if you're very interested in time between stages, this could potentially artificially reduce that number, because for someone to go from contact to op in this model, they'll then be spending a minute in each lifecycle stage as it leads to your destination. So keep that in mind. Yeah, hope this has been useful. I've been Doug. Ta-ra.